Hi, I'm Miguel. I look at politicians' stock trades in my spare time, and there's something really interesting that I wanted to share this week in a long form video, just because I put a lot of research into it and I kind of want to show it all off. So, getting right into it. This is who we're talking about today Representative Tim Moore of North Carolina's 14th District, right here, just outside of Charlotte. While looking through trades, I noticed that he was a pretty big spender. He was very active in investing large amounts. And I noticed that there was one standout trade that was constantly recurring, and that's HY, the stock ticker HY for the company Hyster-Yale. You can see right here, the red is sells when he sells the stock, and the green is when he purchases it. He made two large purchases while it was sliding, and it's currently probably around the same price that he got it for. I don't know the exact price points that he purchased at. I only have the day and a range of how much, unfortunately. You can see this is like the legal disclosures that they make. This is, what all of this is based on. And I just have, like he purchased on the 20th and then he disclosed it on the 1st of December that he bought between 15 and 50,000. And that's kind of like all I have to work with. But it is directly from him, digitally signed, Honorable Tim Moore on December 2nd. So, yeah. So it's accurate information, but unfortunately it's semi-non-specific. But you can see there's a lot of activity. Like we looked at with those ranges, we can see that he bought somewhere between 300 and 750,000, since August 7th, and he's sold 450 to 200,000, just depending on the different bounds of those ranges. So net total, he's somewhere $100,000 and $300,000 into purchasing this stock specifically. And so I got to digging. So Hyster-Yale, what do we know about them? Here on their website, they have like some, corporate nonsense saying they're about people, environment, economy. Generally, they make electric forklifts, and they've been trying to get into AI, with their biggest customer being Walmart, right? They do robotics and domestic production. It's super interesting. The automation of warehouses is something that's going to sort of take more and more jobs away. It's kind of scary, but it's kind of inevitable. And Hyster-Yale is one of the companies that wants to bring that. So, looking through the legislation that Tim Moore has sponsored or introduced, you can notice this bill, H.R. 3597. It is a tax credit for American companies that domestically produce PCBs, printed circuit boards, right? Hyster-Yale would fall into this, and they would get a tax break. It's somewhere around 25% of the cost paid or incurred by the taxpayer for the acquisitions of, basically 25% of the cost of making circuit boards would be a write-off for them. It's hugely beneficial to an electronics-focused company, right? And as you can see, they try to electrify forklifts. This would directly apply to them. This is off of their website, electrification. Yeah. So why would Tim Moore, a representative in North Carolina, be interested in this company that's headquartered in Cleveland, Ohio, right? That's the first thing that I asked myself when I was researching this company. And then I noticed immediately after, they have 4 facilities in North Carolina, which is a presence, to say the least, right? With one of them in Charlotte being in Greenville being the Emerging Technology Center. Now, this is not direct evidence. It's not perfect evidence because Greenville is, way off to the east, whereas Tim Moore presides over the 14th district, which is closer to Charlotte, right? If you look at a breakdown, Charlotte is 12 right here. That Greenville facility would either be 1 or 3, depending on the border. And he's in charge of the 14th. These are all very separate, but they're obviously key players in North Carolina's economy, right? Not to be rude, but North Carolina isn't, a huge booming manufacturer. So this company would be noticed by a politician there. And as further evidence, here is on opensecrets.org, this lists out politicians' funding, right? They have to legally disclose. And why I can't see exactly which companies or who because of legal obfuscations. I can see $30,000 coming from building materials equipment and another $30,000 coming from electronics manufacturing and equipment, which is pretty good notice that he would be aware of this industry, especially in his home state. $60,000 is a good amount of reasons to look at it. Now, $60,000 isn't going to make or break his campaign, but it would probably put him on notice, right? And if he's investing in them, he has even more reason to support them, because then he would ride the stock appreciation up, right? So he would win on the donations and the stock appreciation. I think that's good enough incentive, right? So here's where we are at tonight, I guess. The stock is currently at 33. He started purchasing at 35.63. So it's currently like $2 and something cents under the price that he started purchasing it at, and he kept purchasing it on the way down. So his actual cost average is probably under what it currently is at, but that trade would still be a wash. But I think it'd be an interesting stock to look at for the rest of this week. It did have a slump because they cut a bunch of jobs. Stockholders do not like seeing job cuts. That's a bad sign for your company. But it rocketed right back up. And Tim Moore, Representative Tim Moore, was gladly purchasing on these down days. So that's it. That's mostly my thesis. I think Hyster-Yale could possibly go up with support from Tim Moore. He seems to believe so. He's somewhere between $100,000 and $300,000 deep into this trade. Now, that being said, I do also, in the spirit of honesty, want to say that they have 45 days to disclose these trades. So at any point, he could have sold this already as soon as it ripped back up, or maybe at some point he lost faith in the trade. I don't know. Unfortunately, it is a very, very generous time frame, and I just have to wait 45 days to see if he, has given it up or not. And yeah, so I thought it was super interesting. I spent hours trying to find the different donations, reading about the company, looking at the executives to see if they had any ties to him. I couldn't find anything. But yeah, this is super fun to me, and I'm going to keep doing it. I have another one kind of lined up for Cleo Fields, but stay tuned if you want that. I'm definitely going to be doing more of these deep dives. And if you have any questions about it, I'd be happy to share anything I researched. You can see all the links for everything that I've clicked on. And yeah, have a good day. Good luck on your trading.